Yep. I kind of realized I had this tendency. I tried to start this video just a second ago, but I realized I have this tendency to look away from the camera anytime I start recording, so that when I look back to it, it's more like I'm watching the video that I'm in the process of making rather than making a video. And it's really interesting to just like sit here and examine like my own. I mean, part of me wants to say insecurities, but it's not that I feel bad about feeling weird about making videos. It's that part of me wants to say I'm just not sure of what I'm doing. But then I believe like nobody really knows what they're doing anyway. So, but I'm making this video because I just watched another video. It's funny how the world works. By Passion of the Nerd on YouTube. The video was titled The Toolbox Fallacy. It was released, or rather published, September 14th, 2019. Currently has almost 400,000 views. So, I mean, it's a very, very good video. And what I'm going to talk about ties a lot into just basically what this guy talked about in his own experience and how I felt some sort of connection with it in relating to it, and how it's basically making me want to make this video and talk to y'all. Man, this is weird. But anyway, I just kind of remembered for a second that the most effective barriers aren't the limits to your possibilities, because your potential always outweighs your possible now, if you know what I mean. Because your potential is like your possible at any time, or at least we think of it like that. It could also kind of be thought of as like your potential is what you could be possible if you actually achieved like optimization of self. I have some ideas on whether or not that's really possible or plausible, but basically, don't stop yourself is kind of what I'm getting at. The most effective barriers and the most effective limits are the ones you place yourself because you made them. When you put your energy into stopping yourself instead of going, that's where your energy's, that's what your energy is going into. And so it's not going to go into progress. It's not going to go into actually addressing anything. And it's something I have to remind myself of constantly, is just making sure that my energy is going into actually doing what I want to do, being what I want to be, living the way I want to live, rather than putting my energy into noticing what I'm not doing or noticing where my barriers are or where my blocks are. Because honestly, things will change in time. I don't need to ever so constantly remind myself of what isn't, because the thing about things that aren't, and if you want to think of this existentially, you can, but it doesn't even need to be that complex. The things that aren't. That's just what it is. And it's like that flat of a fact. It either is or it isn't. And whatever is, if it's something like being a writer, I really, really fucking love writing. Whether it's like conceptual and theoretical writing, like what I did a lot when I was in college for philosophy, or just like creative writing, which is something that I'm doing more of now that I never really capitalized on in the past. Because I remember I have this memory where I'm sitting in class in middle school. I think it's like fifth or maybe early sixth grade. And I'm just like looking out the window onto the rooftop of the adjacent building. And I'm just imagining like there's rain. It's sort of like I don't necessarily remember the time period, but like, shogunate style architecture. There are ninjas running across the roofs, and I make up a story for like who each of them is. I decided it was going to be a chase. Some dude just got away with basically either stealing something or killing somebody, and this other person who's just like super morally righteous is chasing them down, but they don't realize that they're just another cog in the wheel of this giant thing. And the reason I'm writing the book that I'm writing now is I don't want to let these ideas go to waste. Because the thing is, like, when I don't really write about them, when I don't talk about them, they're just ideas. They're just things that happen in my head, like the random thoughts that do or do not disturb people. Like when you're walking down the street and you see a squirrel and it's just like barking at you, and you're just like, somebody woke up on the wrong side of the branch. Like, seriously, somebody could make a whole animated comedy skit about the idea of a squirrel waking up on the wrong side of the bed. Like that is a whole pilot episode of a show right there that could potentially be a huge, great idea. And this is the thing that I love about creativity so much. This is the thing, like, this is why personally I like chaos more than order. Just because, yeah, order is good for keeping things in their place. But when things stay in their place for too long, it just gets boring. Nothing happens. Things don't change. And, we have a tendency to resist suddenness or randomness in life just because, we like stability, we like security. But, I don't think there's any person in the world who you can ask, like, if nothing changed, would you be happy? And they would say yes. I don't think there's anybody in the world who would say yes to that. And, it's why I value artistic creation so much. It's why I value expression, just in general, human expression so much, free expression. It's why I'm doing this, why this one video got me to do this. I'm already sitting here talking for 8.5 minutes, like, or not 8.5, almost 8.5, but you know what I mean. And it's just like, originally, I remember everything has a root. And if you can kind of find where the root is, you can remember what the thing, like what it's serving, what it's going for, what it's putting its energy towards. And the root of barriers is always fear. But the root of freedom, the root of expression, the root of creativity is almost always love, if not obsession. But then again, obsession can be love. I'm not saying it is. If you're obsessed with something, don't use that as an excuse to say you just love it so much. Because like obsession can be love when you really make something a factor of your identity, in a positive way that is sort of contributing to your free expression. Like in the Toolbox Fallacy video, by the way, in case you were wondering, I'm trying to use the front-facing camera, and that's spelled backwards, isn't it? Doesn't matter. Anyway, what was I saying? Right. The when you identify with something like being a writer, being an artist, being a musician, being a healer, being a fighter, even if you do like competitive competitions, When you identify with something like that, it can be an obsession that's actually really helpful and really energizing when you believe it. And honestly, I think the main thing that people struggle with, myself included, and this is just stemming from my own experience and extrapolating onto maybe how I would explain other people's behavior, is there's this block where you have these barriers that you set for yourself because maybe you were afraid of failure, afraid of rejection, or just afraid of stepping out too much. And you just develop this habit of not doing what you wanted to do. And so your energy became stagnant. You just mentally, physically, and emotionally become stagnant. And that kind of mentality of stopping yourself just gets in the way horribly, and it does not feel good. But what does feel good is saying, screw it. It doesn't matter, what I thought before. It doesn't even matter what I think now, because honestly, I'm just gonna do what I'm gonna do. And there are things I prefer and things that I don't prefer. I don't like to feel bad, so I'm gonna do things that make me feel good, but not in just kind of a hedonistic way. I'm gonna do things that actually contribute to me feeling good about things, and not just like, I don't know what the word, I want to say vacuous or just empty, but people don't usually associate hedonistic pleasure with emptiness. Like, they do in sort of in the back of their head, but you would never like look at pleasure itself and say pleasure is empty, because pleasure can be very, very full of life and very vibrant and sort of rich spiritually. And by spiritual, I just mean in a way that like connects people to their experiences and to their, just the factors of their experience that bring out these feelings. So yeah, like, if there's something you want to be, do what the you who is that does. And in doing what that version of you does, you will be that you. And that's honestly as simple as it is. And I can sit here and I can talk about the formulas for it all day. But honestly, like right now, I'm kind of just having a weird feeling about even making this video. Because it's like, all right, if this is part of some sort of identity, then who am I? What am I? And honestly, whatever I want. I am who I want to be. I do what I want to do. Why? Because if I didn't, I would be dead. I would be somebody else, and that somebody else would be ruling my life. And I don't want anyone else to have control of my life. That's what freedom is. And so, yeah, I guess that's interesting to kind of think about. But yeah, in case you were wondering about the book, I don't know why you would be, but in case you were, I'm writing a fantasy novel that's sort of rooted in my metaphysical theory. And it's going to draw together a lot of sort of the experiences that I've had in life, and sort of just how I understand existence in general. And something Passion of the Nerd talks about in this video, and something that I really want to just focus on here. This is the point I wanted to return to. Just, if you have ideas, if you have an internal impetus to do or make something, and it's so seemingly essential or core to your being that it feels like it comes from your soul, or just some inspired place, do it. Actualize it. Realize it. bring it into existence, because I guarantee you are going to feel better when you do, or not better, but you're going to feel good when you do. And that good feeling is the feeling of freedom. It is the feeling of manifesting your reality the way you want it to be. A lot of people think manifestation is magic. I mean, there are ritualistic ways to manifest things, but you manifest your hair. How do you do that? Well, you just grow it. How do you grow it? You grow it the way that you grow it. What are you? You are your individuality. You are the thing that is at the center of your universe. It doesn't need to be anything specific. Like the concept of a soul is kind of illusionary in and of itself, because it's supposed to be a metaphysical essence. But the illusion, or not the illusion, but just the kind of trick about existentialism and metaphysics is that for something to be, all it needs to do is exist. And so for you to be an individual, independently free and expressive thing, all you need to do is be that. And allow your energy to flow into doing what you want and making what you want, rather than stopping yourself from that. And life is going to, and by life I just mean your experiences, it's just gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I mean, I don't, it's not like I'm really living in paradise right now, but I have the kind of life that I want. I'm with the people that I want to be with. I'm able to do things in ways that allows me to, in some way, actualize or bring into being the possibilities that I want to have, the actions that I want to get into, and the endeavors that I want to support. And when you get out of your own way, life just feels so much smoother. You don't have to be stressed all the time. You don't have to worry all the time. And, I don't have to be talking to you specifically, but this is, all of my writing, even my creative projects, this channel, it's all more of a documentation thing rather than a expression thing anyway. Really, it's a documentation of my expression. It's kind of like chronicling that's not the word for it. It might be, but like keeping a chronological track of who I am, or rather who I was in the past, because I am who I am right now. But as soon as I hit this button, is right here, and stop this video from recording, I'm a new me. I'm no longer a video recorder. I'm a video editor, assuming I go straight into editing. But that's just kind of like the idea that, or one of the ideas that's at the center of this kind of thing. You are what you do. You are the choices you make, and you are the actions you take. And you can take responsibility for those actions, or you cannot, which is basically just accepting what is or accepting what isn't. If you accept what isn't, you're going to experience the blocks. You're going to experience feeling disconnected from your reality. You're going to experience alienation. And being alienated from your sense of self is death. That's just what death is. And my favorite quote ever from Dave Matthews Band in the song, I want to say Squirm. on, oh, Jesus, what's the name of that album? Big Whiskey and the Gru Grux King. Great album, by the way. Amazing band, probably my favorite. But my favorite quote from the songs, just in general, is from the song Squirm. And it's a couple of lines, and it kind of relates what I want to talk about, or what I've been talking about. So, found the lyrics. This is sort of the verse that is like one of my favorite works of poetry. I have no idea how somebody could use words to do this, but it is amazing. Verse 3 from the song Squirm. The power of your kiss, your words, your lips. Not a gun to your head, you're gonna die before you're dead. Not sad when you're gone, but when your light's still on and your wings won't let you fly, don't be dead before you die. Hunger till fed, give love instead, and when it gets inside, watch the dead man squirm. Above all things, if kindness is your king, then heaven will be yours before you meet your end. And with that, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to borrow a phrase from my friend, and I'm just going to live, because that's just what we're doing. I'm not dying. Not anytime soon, hopefully, at least. But, yeah. Enjoy life, man, because what else are you going to do with it? Seriously. Yeah, see you later.